Hello and welcome back. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hello and welcome back to the Engage Your Passion podcast.
It's time to engage your passion.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Engage Your Passion podcast, or we like to say the EYP podcast. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And together we are Tony and Sarah. And so we are excited to be filming our second season of the EYP podcast. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, we are here to help provide resources, insights, leads, experiences, stuff like that for those of you looking to engage in the arts and entertainment industry. With everything going on, we just want to kind of reach out and get help with our resources and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have an exciting season planned. We're going to bring on some more guests to kind of dig deeper into some of our topics, but we're going to keep going with our spotlight. So that's what we've got today. We've got someone pretty awesome, in our opinion, and close to us. So I'll let you do the honors.
Okay, well, great. So she's an author. She is a speaker. She's an entrepreneur, single mom, dancer, award winner. There's not much she hasn't done. So I guess when you look at it, she's a jackette of all trades.
She's a sister.
She's a sister. And in fact, she's my sister. So today we have someone's very dear and near to our hearts. My sister, her sister-in-law, Nicole R Smith with Game On and Nicole R Smith brand. And I want to welcome Miss Nicole Smith.
Yay! See, I said she was a dancer.
Yes.
Don't put on any music. I'll 5, 6, 7, 8, y'all.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
I'm so glad you are here with us. And like this seems like it should have just happened season 1.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we got you first episode season 2. So yay!
Yes, I'm number 1. Woo! Yes.
So I'm going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
So obviously we know you pretty well, Tony, better than her. But tell us.
I've known her for years. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're good brother. Good brother. But why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh gosh, my story. There's so much to tell. Well, I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really thrilled to be in the place where I am right now. And I think my story is that of really just taking chances and taking risks, because that is what is going to help guide you to where you are getting, to where you're going to end up in life. When I went to school on a track scholarship, I was able to get my school paid for, Division I school. What? And while I was in school, I was studying something, and I wanted to be pre-med, and I went through my first biology class at my freshman biology. I was like, nope, this ain't gonna happen. So I went in my major, and I switched it to art, and I just feel like, which is fine, but I wasn't the best at it, and that's not me being humble. It's so much so that when I graduated, my one of my college professors literally was like, "Oh, thank God. I'm glad you got a job." That's because I wasn't the best. So he was just like, and when you get that from your college professor, then that ought to tell you. I studied hard and I tried hard, but art just wasn't a natural thing that came to me. So, I just kind of continued pursuing different things. And I fell into dance very, very late. If any of y'all know anything about dance, I took like my first dance class at 27, and I think I auditioned for my first team around that time too. I was either like 27, between 25 and 20, whatever, doesn't matter. It's like after 10, so I was ancient. So my dance career started really, really, like my formal dance career, you know, like we're Latino, so, you know, we grew up in the house, you know, dancing informally, but as far as a formal audition type situation, that didn't happen until like 27. And I was auditioning for a professional sports team, like to be either NFL cheerleader or any of those team sport things, dance teams, cheer teams, whatever. So then while I was doing that, I was just pursuing different things and just kind of things that I loved, right? Because I wish I had somebody just had sat me down and was like, what are you passionate about? And did you know that you could do that, right? I wish somebody had sat me down and like, did you know that you could make money dancing? Because to us, it was like, make money dancing, you crazy, whatever.
I've seen those videos. I don't want to do that.
Right. I ain't not trying to be like, no video. Oh, wait. Can I say that? Okay. I was not. Oh, anyway, you can edit that out, right? Just edit it. So I that's just, you know, that wasn't what I wanted to do. And then, so I just kind of kept going and I found an affinity of working with people, and it just kind of, things just kind of led one thing after another till I finally found what I'm really passionate about, and not even so much passionate about, but what I'm really naturally, organically good at. And, you know, and that's managing people. It's managing volunteers and interns, working with organizations to help them develop their workforce that tends to work for love, not necessarily for money. But the thing about that is a lot of times people would tend to take that as less than for some reason. And then, especially if it is a nonprofit organization, they're like, how come we can't keep our volunteers, or how come we can't keep interns? And I'm like, well, can I be frank? Because you treat them like crap. How about we treat them like human beings, and then maybe they'll stay. And the great thing about that is volunteers, interns, anybody who is giving you any kind of time and you are not paying them, and even if you are paying them, but that's a whole different story. If you treat them well, they become your biggest ambassadors, your biggest donors, the people who believe in you the most, and will find any way to pour the money that they are giving into you. So if you treat their time like it's valuable, you're gonna get their money too. But people weren't connecting that, right? So not only were they losing people, but they're watching money walk out the door too. So that's kind of where I am now, and everything that I've done in life has led up to that, which has been really, really weird, because I would have never seen this coming, especially based off of how my track years, how my basketball years, how my professional cheer and dance years, being a single mom, how all of that tied into what I'm doing now. And it's just every piece of that puzzle was important to get me to where I am today.
Awesome.
Well, we did tell you she was pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
That right there.
And thank you guys for coming.
So, can we dig a little deeper, and like, what would you consider your why? Like, what motivates you every day to just keep going? Because it's, especially with everything going on now and just the life that you've had, it would have been easy to dig your head in the sand and put a pillow over your head and just sleep all day, or, you know, give up. Yeah. But what is that thing that motivates you and keeps you going?
Not being homeless.
Pretty good motivator.
Yeah, honestly, like, no, I have dreams, and I do have dreams and ambitions. I have all these goals that I want to do, and goals that I want to accomplish. But at the end of the day, I am a single mom, and I have a whole other human being that I am responsible for, even though she is like right at the pinnacle. She's right at that end. You know, she just graduated from college and she has like one foot out the door. I'm still fully responsible for her until she is on her own 2 feet and she has her own car and she has her own insurance. Okay. That's when you know it's real, because she can have her car, but when she has her own health insurance, that is what I have to get. So, you know, and that is my why, is making sure that she is in a place that she is taken care of, that so that I know that she is a viable human being and can give back to this community and be a not only just a functioning member of our community, but somebody that is really going to change the world and make it be a better place, right? And traditionally, I mean, and I know a lot of roles and things have changed, etc. But traditionally, right, when a bride is ready to get married, it's the bride's family pays for everything. Well, I'm the family, like I'm it. So if we go with that tradition, I can't pay for this. She gonna be getting like married on a shack, and she deserves better than that. And so a lot of what I do and how hard I work is because I want to be able to provide her and give her opportunities and choices that she doesn't feel like she's less than or is missing out on life because I wasn't able to provide for her. Now, again, I only feel like that for the next, you know, couple of months till she gets her own job and insurance and she can do what she wants. But until then, that is really my why. Not only providing for her now, but also providing her, leaving. I want to be able to leave something to her. You know, it's often said that a person is considered wealthy when not only they can leave something for their children, but for their children's children, and developing that wealth. And I want to put her in that position to be able to do that. That is what I want to do. I don't want her to have to struggle the way I did, because it's no fun. It's no bueno. But you know, it strengthens you. So wait, now that I think about it, maybe she needs to struggle a little bit because it'll strengthen her. Put some hair on her legs. But no. But that's why. That is my why. That is my why.
I think for and dare I say for most parents, their kids are everything. I know I have we have 2 kids, and I know that when they're, and I'm sure from a different perspective as a mom, but as from a dad, you know, seeing them for the first time, it's a different kind of love. It's not that, hey, you know, it's a completely different kind of love, and that motivation to keep them healthy, keep them, you know, I like what you said, to give them a basis to be able to get into the world and be a better person, add to the world. I can completely understand that, and but it's not as easy. It's not as easy as they make it look in the movies. By any means. It's just, yeah. Well, I think one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and as we go on to the next part, is I think from just kind of backing up to where I think maybe your work ethic started. We're military brats, so you know, from our parents, it was, if you're going to do something, you do it 150%, and don't do it half. And I think from there, and I think we were both attracted. We both got scholarships. Our mom was an international Olympic qualifier, and then was in the Pan Am Games, and so we have some good genes that way. And a lot of our family, luckily, got scholarships to school. But I think for me, I'd love to hear, you know, that time from maybe in high school where you were looking for, hey, I think I know that my times are good, and you know, what am I going to do with getting scholarships, and how do you know that I'm good enough to get the scholarship? Just that situation from, hey, this is the next step in my life. Who was there? What were the key things that allowed you to basically get your education by using your skills?
So, well, the funny thing about that is when I first kind of started discovering that I might be okay as a runner, I used to get beat all the time, like all the time. But because that work ethic was drilled into us, always 110%, 120, 150, everything, you know, that was always drilled in. And that showed on the track. So when our coach was saying, you know, and I'm just like throwing out stuff because I don't remember specifically, but essentially if our coach was saying like do 3 100 sprints, I would do 5. If the coach said run 110 yards, I would run 120.
Okay. Yep.
All of a sudden, I'm in races and girls who used to beat the crap out of me, who used to walk me down, I'm starting to tie them. I'm starting to like finish at the same time. Now all of a sudden I'm starting to beat them. And I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay. So that just encouraged me to continue to work that much harder. So it wasn't just like, you know, there's some people who just have that super like natural talent and it doesn't matter what they do, you know, and then they just either get on the basketball court or they get on the volleyball court or they get out there, whatever the sport is, or even just dancing and they just get up and they just do all this stuff and they don't even try and you're mad at them because you're like, if I had half the talent that you had and put it with my work ethic, amazing where I would be. But I was one of those people who always had to work hard for it. But it was so cool because then all of a sudden I started getting better and better. I started winning and it was just like, yo. So I ended up, which to me is a huge accomplishment, I ended up going, and especially if you're in Texas and you know anything about Texas and sports and athletics, you know, first of all, it's an extremely, extremely competitive state, especially in track and field. And I actually made it to state and placed in state as a sophomore in high school. That's when I know I was like, all right.
Okay. All right. I got some skills.
Right. And then I'm getting college letters from all over the country trying to recruit me to come to their school. And I was just like, okay, there could be something to this. There could be something to this. Yo, especially when I got the one, I think it was either from like Yale or Harvard. First of all, I was like, y'all have a track team? Okay. Harvard, like, But I was so honored that you even thought about me. Yeah. So just that is something that I can just say that work ethic really, really did what it created in me what I wanted, but in my eyes, I didn't see it at the time. But just trusting that the work ethic would get me there, it took me so much further than I thought that it would. And so as I continued to go through different things in life, and especially when it came to like the track and trying to get school paid for and all of those things, you know, I distinctly, and this was like only, you know, like only 3 years ago, I distinctly remember at track practice when our coach would be like, we would be doing something in practice and my teammates, we were running a relay. I'll never forget it. And we didn't run all the way through the line. Like we kind of like, well, some people they just didn't finish the assignment that we were supposed to do. And I was like, look, there are girls all over this state trying to get what we have, and they're trying to take us down. If we slack off now, we're only hurting ourselves. And they got mad at me and had an attitude, but guess what? For the rest of the practice, they were running all the way through, and they stepped it up. So they were mad to hear it, but they stepped up. And I'll also never forget that, because I was just like, when they got mad at me and had an attitude, I was like, oh, I guess I went. To the point where I was shocked when they stepped up the game. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad that I spoke up. So it's just all of those things where oftentimes you're going to be the lone ranger, so to speak. You're going to be the one that is either going more, pushing more, and people, they might be quitting or they want to do it halfway. Don't worry about it. It's going to pay off, and you may not even see it or understand it or how it's going to happen, but I can't tell you that there hasn't been one time that it hasn't. So I don't know if that answers your question. I feel like I'm kind of rambling.
No, I think for us, the work I think if any, just basically my point with the question, I think you answered it great, was people tend to put the responsibility on the other people. Well, they didn't hire me. Well, they didn't think I was good, or they didn't. And so it's more of, if you want this, you're, especially in this industry, and because you had your time in it, you're going to hear many more no's than you are yes.
Oh yeah.
And just keeping that work ethic. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So I just want to piggyback on that. So in my book, we'll eventually talk about it, I guess, whenever. Right, but the very, very first line in my book is, life is not fair. Cool. Now, and the reason why I say that is because once you realize that life is not fair, you can no longer use it as an excuse. Okay. Everybody is dealt a different set of cards, and you can't just be like, well, I didn't get those cards, so I can't. You build with what you have, and you will find and see that things will come and attract to whatever that is. But if you ain't doing anything, if you aren't doing anything, then nothing, then exactly that is what you are going to breed. Like, what is it? And this is why I had to get out of like biology and physics, but an object in motion stays in motion, but an object staying put is staying put, right? So there are no excuses. I do not believe in them. And a lot of times people will come up with really, really great reasons, disguised as excuses. And I say that because I will never, ever, ever forget. I went to go to support a friend of mine at a triathlon. And, we got up at like 3:00 in the morning and whatever. And I was like, I'm out here trying to support my friend because he's running. And I was like, why don't they ever do these things like later on in the day? But I digress. So we're out there and, all the athletes are lining up. All of a sudden, there's this dude, no arms. And I was like, at first, you know how sometimes like you think your mind is playing tricks on you, and I thought maybe his arms were like inside his wetsuit and he was doing something. No, dude had no arms. Everybody lines up, gun goes off. First thing, swimming. What did they do? They had a customized boogie board for him. So, because clearly he couldn't use his arms, but he was kicking, and they just had something customized for him to be able to do whatever. So the point is, he was out there swimming with the rest of them, got out of the water, put on his running shoes, took off, came back around, jumped on his bike, and took off. Whole time, I'm watching this dude, forgot my friend was in the race, and I'm like, yeah, oh yeah. I was so just intrigued by this guy running a triathlon who had no arms. If there is anybody in that race who could have been complaining and talking about things not being fair, it would have been him. And he didn't come in last. So, if the dude with no arms can run a triathlon, and I have all of my limbs and they are working, what excuse do I have?
Right.
That's one story. Everybody is dealt something different. I am a single mom. I didn't ask to be a single mom. It happened. Okay. But if I sit and wallow in that, the only person that's going to hurt is me. So I take what I have and work with what I have. And as that happens, you'll just see that other things, I'm a big spiritual person, so I will say God, some people will say the universe, whatever it is, whatever you put out there is going to come back. And it's amazing how that works. But again, if you ain't doing nothing, ain't nothing gonna happen, because that's just the nature of how like that positive energy works. So if you want to sit and complain about what you don't have, that's fine. But the only person that is hurting is you. And so, yes, life is not fair. So what else? So what? And what's your point? There's many people who are in your exact same position, who have less than you have, who are doing more or started with less, who have become successful. What is the difference? The mindset and the will to want to do it. So I have a huge problem with that. I would rather you just be honest with me and say, you know what? I really don't want to work for it. I can respect that. Cool. I get it, because it's hard and it's not easy. especially when you are not afforded the same thing that somebody else might have. You know, if that person who their daddy gave them, you know, $300 million to start their business and they're complaining about it, and as you who don't have anything, that's fine. But you know what? You have the work ethic and the will to do so, and there's stuff that is growing and that is developing in you as a business person that dude who got handed $3 million can't run a company because he didn't have to work for it. Excuse me.
Sure.
He didn't have to work for it. So fine, he got $3 million, but what is it that you have? What is it that you have that you do so well that person will $3 million will come and seek you out? Because guess what? All those people with money have to spend it somewhere.
Right.
They're not building their own cars. They're not creating their own book. Well, some of them are doing their own books, but you get the point, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're hiring people to do their stuff. So what is it that you have that will make them want to spend their money on you? Figure that out. Do it yourself. Like that whole life isn't fair and I didn't have this. Fine. We all don't have something, but we all absolutely have something that we were given that we can use, that we can work with to get to the next level. Focus on what you do have, not what you don't have.
And we're done.
Yeah. Mic drop. Bam. AJ would kill us. Don't.
That's so. Like, I think when you're talking, I feel like you're talking about like taking responsibility for your own life and like not, and then staying positive about it. What, like, we call it the wow moment, but what do you think? What wow moment brought you to like living your life that way? Like, what lesson do you think, like, what was your biggest lesson that got you to that point? And maybe it was a bunch of different things.
Combination of things. You know, it's probably just not what you want to hear, but
we just want to hear
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember not living that way because I was always in a position where if I didn't figure out how to get stuff taken care of, I didn't have an option, right? I wanted to go to school, but my parents didn't have the money to send me, and I didn't want to be in debt. So I was like, I have to work my butt off to make sure that I am attractive, not only on the track, but in the classroom. I think I graduated with a 4-something GPA, whatever. I was just like, I wanted to make myself so attractive that I had my choice of anything in order to get my school paid for. And when I did go to school, it wasn't easy. I had a track coach that literally did many things to make me quit. He knew he couldn't revoke my scholarship, but he could do things to try to make me quit. I was like, I'm coming out of this debt free. I don't care what you do. I'm still showing up early and working hardest and doing what I need to do because the end goal was what was important. So I was like, I will take just about anything because at the end of the day, that's my end goal is all that mattered. And yes, it was hard. Yes, it was challenging. Yes, I had to deal with a lot of stuff, but who's laughing now? I got out of school out of debt. I don't even remember half the stuff that they did. Does it matter? No, because I ain't got school debt. But a wow moment for me, not necessarily so much living in that particular way, but there was a wow moment for me in college, and this changed my life. There was a situation that happened at school. And again, like I said, my coaches were always looking for a way to revoke my scholarship. And they called me into their office and they were trying to accuse me of like a conflict of interest of something that would affect my scholarship. And I was like, I promise you, I didn't do it. I didn't say anything. I didn't da-da-da-da-da-da. And they were like, you're lying, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And they just kept going at me. And I was like, look, I am telling you the truth. There is nothing else that I can do to change your mind. Either you believe me or you don't. And I walked out of the office. And that was the day that I realized that I always had to be true to myself. And if I know that I am telling the truth, I just have to trust and have faith that everything is going to work out, because that was the day that I realized I can never change anybody else's mind from something that they want to believe. And the only way that we move forward with anything is that you have to change your mind up here. So in terms of if you're talking to yourself or if somebody is talking to you, I realize I don't have to convince you about me anymore. This is who I am. If you don't believe me, that's on you. I'm not going to waste my time trying to prove myself to you, because if you can't take me at my word, and my character that has preceded me has done in such a way that there's no reason why you shouldn't take me at my word, but because you don't want to believe it and you want to believe the narrative that's in your head, cool. But that was, so when in relationships, if the person I was dating wanted to accuse me of this or accuse me of that, first of all, hint, hint, the first time somebody's accusing you of something that you didn't do is usually because they feel guilty about it, so they're trying to project. Anyway, let me pull that back. I was
about to say, that is so true. So true. Yeah.
But it's helped me with so many things. It's helped me at work with bosses. It's helped me in relationships. It's helped me just across the board. That was the moment when I walked out. I will never forget that, because I walked out of that office going, I realize that people are going to believe what they want to believe. So turning that back on who we are, if you're going after your dream, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're going after whatever it is, what do you believe? Because it's your belief that is going to affect the outcome, regardless of what anybody else thinks. So I'm done.
No, it's awesome.
Are y'all there?
Yeah, we know we're here. We just memorized.
And we're
okay.
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's really great. I think more. It's just. I think it's hitting home, and I hope people listening or watching too. It's just your words are just powerful, and the way that you are expressing yourself, it's like it's touching us. I mean, I hope the people listening, it touches them too. I mean, even AJ's here like nodding his head and saying typing. I mean, it's just. I think what it is, it kind of reminds me of the person we listen to when they talk, and like, the person says something and it's quiet. It's like, oh, we're processing. We got it. So it's there.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned character, because we talk a lot about how if you're going to go to an audition or go get all of that, like at the end of the day, your character is what you have. The first impression, that's going to fade once your character steps in. And I think that, you guys must have had great parents, because you both have pretty good character.
We had good examples. I mean, I'll put it this way: we had
brother and sister.
No, I mean, I think we had both. We had examples of what to do, and we had some examples of what we ain't doing that.
I don't think we could talk about that, because people might be like, "Oh, y'all were abused." We were not abused. That's just the Caribbean way. But and the thing about it, right? And I'm so glad that it is hitting you, and that's so beautiful. But the beautiful thing about it, right, is this comes with many years of rejection. Rejection will teach you something about yourself. Yeah. You know how they say money doesn't change you, it exposes you? I feel the same way about rejection, right? You go into the audition, you get rejected. Are you walking out, stomping your feet, acting a fool? Or do you thank them graciously, leave, and try to get from it, as much as you can. What did I do? Is there something that I can learn from this? And sometimes you just get down to the point where, maybe I just wasn't the right person for the role. It literally didn't have anything to do with my performance. I could have performed that thing 1,000 times, but if they were looking for a 6'2", blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, there wasn't anything I could do. I could sing, I could dance, I could, do triple fouettes. I could stand on my head and do triple fouettes while on my head and on one hand, speak in 5 different languages. But if they want a 6'2", blue-eyed girl, there's nothing that I could do, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just have to be okay with that and realize not every time you get rejected from something to take it personal. A lot of times, yes, look at it. What can I learn from it? But sometimes you just have to realize it just wasn't the right time. It just wasn't the right place. It just wasn't where I was supposed to be. And let me tell you, I am here today because of the, especially from auditions. I think I've been to 26 auditions and I've been rejected from 22 of them. But with everyone, I learned something better. I got better because I was like, oh, you gotta, because before, right? My first couple of rejections, I was like, oh my God. I ate cheeseburgers every day with ice cream, just the whole thing, right? And then it got to the point, I was like, oh, you gonna reject me? All right, I'm gonna come back better. Reject this. And then they did. And they're like, oh, okay, you up at the ante. Well, I'm coming back even better. So I started taking it as a challenge. And even though the one team that I wanted to be on, I didn't make, I am still so grateful for them because they made me such a better dancer. They made me a better person. They built up my character. They gave me material from my book, which I would have never had I made the team the first time. But because I was rejected so much, it was like chapter 6. Okay. Chapter 8. Which led to me having opportunities to talk in front of people about not giving up. I mean, rejection is a beautiful thing, so don't look at it that way. The only way rejection is bad for you is what you do with it. It's like a tool, right? No, I don't want to say that. Let's see. It's like, dang it. All my examples are pretty traumatic. Let me think. It's a tool. It's how you use it, right? A pencil is a pencil is a pencil. You can use it to scribe the most beautiful words, letters, whatever, or you can use that same pencil to tear somebody down and create havoc. The tool in itself, there's nothing wrong with it. Rejection in itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. So let me tell you, get ready, because your life is going to be full of rejection. I'm not trying to be mean or whatever, but that's what life is, a series of rejections. Rejection after rejection, right? Because you go to an audition, you're rejected. You go for a job, you don't get the interview, blah, 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 blah. But what happens? You keep getting up and you try again. You keep getting up and you try again. And then I have the perfect example. And I hope I'm not taking up all your time, but this is the perfect example. The job that I have right now, I went in and I asked my supervisor, I was like, why did you guys hire me, right? And she said, on paper, you all have literally the exact same qualifications. You both could do the job. It wasn't a matter of your capability. We hired you because your personality fits in with our team. Had the personality of the team been different, I wouldn't have had my job.
Right.
Does that have anything to do with my capability on paper? No. Does that mean I was a terrible person? Does that mean that they were terrible? No, it just wasn't the right fit. And quite frankly, I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not going to fit. So reject me, please. I mean, boy, that didn't come out right. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Because it's going to get me to where I am supposed to be. Relationships. Boys breaking up with you, cool. You didn't want that anyway. That's just a sign that they didn't need that. If they couldn't see the value in you, holla, goodbye, reject. It's all right. It's okay. Think of it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm talking to young people though, because I was like, VCRs. Oh, that's eject, but still, you still have to take it out. How do you get something else in, and how do you get something more powerful if you don't take out the one before to put something else in? You got to get rid of the stuff. Okay, yeah. I'm done. Sorry. I'm quiet now.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, we have tons of stuff that we could ask you and probably sit here and talk to you all day, but I do want to get to your book.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that doing all of these auditions, they basically wrote all your chapters for you. So tell us a little bit about your book and how that came about.
Okay, so my book came about because I was rejected 22 times. So I was telling you that my dance career started, ancient, and but it was always something that was deep within me. I loved dance. I was passionate about it, and I went to a professional football game, and I saw cheerleaders on the side, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could do that. It combines my two favorite things, dance and sports. Hello. So that started my journey. And I tried out the first time. I made it all the way to the finals. I knew somebody who was on the judging panel, and I got cut. And I mean, to the point where I was like, y'all forgot a number. Hold on. Y'all forgot. I don't know. I was like, okay. So I asked the lady, and she was like, Nicole, and this is again what I'm talking about. She was like, Nicole, it came down between you and one other girl. Half the room voted for you, half the room voted for the other girl. They just had to choose somebody. And I personally feel that they chose the other girl because she used to take dance lessons from one of the current cheerleaders. So having that, having that familiarity, which I completely understand and I completely get. But guess what? I am so grateful for that, because had that rejection never happened, this book wouldn't have happened. So I thank them every day for that. I mean, I still would have loved to put the uniform on, but maybe they'll make me an honorary cheerleader or something. But anyway, so that started. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start trying other teams. So I was in Miami, and then I had moved to Houston. So I tried out for the Houston Texans. I tried out for Dynamo. I tried out for all these different teams. And then I was in Chicago, and I tried out for some teams, and then I came back down to Miami, and I tried out some more. But the success that I had, and I'm very, very happy and proud and excited about, that I did make the 2007 Houston Dynamo girls. So I did have the opportunity to become a professional cheerleader, but it wasn't until my fourth audition for like my third different team. So that's another thing. If it's something that you want, this is your dream. Don't quit because somebody else was like, no. Because number one, if that's their team, they can do whatever they want, but this is your dream. You quit when you're ready. You quit, don't quit because somebody else thought that you didn't fit for their team, because guess what? I fit for another team, and it was the most amazing experience. Love it. I met lifelong friends. And quite frankly, the other part of all of this is you just have to show up, regardless of your confidence level, regardless of you just don't know. You have to show up. I almost did not go to the audition. Somebody had told me about it, and I was like, I've been rejected. At that point, it had been 1, 2, 3, because that was my third team, but I think my fourth, I don't know, whatever. I had already been rejected a number of times. I'm like, I'm not going through that again. Whatever, blah, 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 blah. Night before, I was like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to go. Clearly, if you were to see the audition pictures, you'd be like, oh, clearly that chick decided last minute to go, because what was going on? I could show you pictures, but I don't want to, because it's way too embarrassing. We was like not cute. It's not cute. But sometimes you just have to show up. You just have to show up. And, it turns out that they were going through and they were trying to pick a number of people. And this is my perception of it, and it's what I'm going to go with. When we were in the finals, they were running the routine over and over and over. And I think they were taking maybe 20 girls. We'll just go with 20. And they had the 15 that they really wanted. And how do you know? Because they're all out on the court. So maybe it was 16 girls, because there was 5 of us still sitting on the wall. So they would run the routine. They would call one of us in to join everybody, run the routine. And then they would say, okay, number whatever, you can sit. And then the other person, 5 on the wall, come in. So we're all like, we ain't stupid. We know. We're like, oh, okay. So they're running and running and running. It was my turn. We ran the routine 3 times. Out of the 3, the last position was supposed to be landing with your arms up, and I was down. And I was like, dang it! They ran it again. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing the move opposite. And then finally on the last one, I nailed it. And I'm like, I'm hoping that none of them were looking at me until the last one. Because it was obvious, because when you have 15 girls up and 1 is down, like, there's a problem. So that's all done, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay, we're going to go deliberate and figure out what we're going to do. There was one girl that was there who, she was, because we were sponsored by a liquor company, you had to be 21. And they found out that she was 18. They loved her, but she wasn't old enough. So they had to send her home, and they were like, oh my gosh, come back, blah, 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 blah. When you're older, or if our sponsor changes, then they're calling out the names. And they call my number. Now I have the exact opposite response. I was like, wait, I literally went up to the coaches and I was like, I just want to make sure that because I think my number was like 77 and there was another person whose number was 7 and they had called both. And I was like, I just want to make sure that you call my number, because I was like, I've been rejected so many times at this point that I was just like, okay. So I walked up and I was like, did you call? And they were like, yes, you did. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now I know that I probably wouldn't have been on that team if that 18-year-old had been 21, but you know what? It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the fit. Look, I'm all about being real. I will be real. I will not look a gift horse in the mouth, but I knew it was my opportunity. And later on, I asked them, why did they choose me? And they told me, she was like, I knew you would work hard for me. So anyway, that was the book, right? And because what would happen is I would go to these auditions and girls would be mad if they would get cut, they would get rejected, and they'd be crying, their life would be over, they're cursing the coaches. I was like, don't curse the coach till you get in the car. They remember that stuff. One time, one of the judges, they accidentally cut somebody that they weren't supposed to, and she came back out looking for the girl, and somebody was going off. I was like, she gonna remember that next year when you try to show up for the audition, have some decorum. So I wanted to talk to girls, young women who were auditioning, and just be like, and then it was like, anything that you're doing, whatever your goal is, if it is something that is deep down within you and you have tried to put it away and you're like, I don't even want to do this, and you try to go to sleep, but it just keeps nagging you and it's here, then you have to go after it, because it's not going to go away until you do. And don't let, because somebody else didn't think that you were a good fit for their team, stop you. Either find another team, start one yourself, whatever it is. But if something is in you like that, you have to pursue it. It's because it's something that you were created to do, and somebody needs you to act in that, because that is what's going to encourage them to get to where they need to be. So that's where the book came from. And especially I wanted to
title of the book.
It's called Game On, Relentlessly Pursue Your Dreams. And especially for single moms, because I know single moms will be the first one to be like, oh, well, I'm a single mom and I can't, or even parents in general. They're like, oh, I can't pursue my dreams because of my kids. Don't put that on your kids like that, because what you're teaching them is they can't go after theirs. Absolutely not. Really quick, it turns out my daughter has a photographic memory. Literally. Well, for dance anyway. We didn't talk about school, but anyway. So we would go to, I would take her with me to dance practice, and then I would come home, and that was really before like video cameras and everything were a thing. So I would come home and I'd be trying to practice and do whatever. It wasn't that long ago. Video cameras were a thing, but it wasn't like on your cell phone, but that's besides the point. So I'd come home and I would be trying it, and out of the blue, she'd be like, no, mommy, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm like, what? I have my personal recorder. So now she became a part of my dance journey. So my child enabled me and helped me to get to where I needed to be. She was not a deterrent or an excuse of why I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And crazy, she watching me going after mine helped her go after what she wanted to do. And I wasn't doing it on purpose, but it was like, it was important to me that she saw that I worked within who I was, because first of all, that made me happier because I had that outlet and I was doing what I loved, which made me a better mother because I wasn't mad at her from keeping me from doing what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Sorry. But anyway, so that's really why I did it. I wrote it to encourage people who are going after dreams, and especially for single moms, do not let now, is it harder? Yes. Don't let me lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and talk about, oh no, be a single mom and go after your dream and it's going to be okay. No, that junk is hard. But figure it out. And again, when you step into it, it is amazing how many people were like, oh, I'll watch her for you. Or the teams were like, you can bring her to practice. So long as she act right. Like my child wasn't up in there acting a fool either. So, that was also why she was able to come to practice. But what I'm saying is, do not let your child be an excuse. Maybe you might have to put it off a little bit. Maybe you might have to it might take you a little bit longer to get to where you need to be. All of that is okay. But don't put that burden on your child and have them growing up thinking that you're not happy because of them. That's an unfair burden.
Right. No, amazing. So I think as we go through this, now the book you can get on Amazon and stuff like that, and we'll make sure we have that listed. But I think one of the things that I remember about, I'm going to kind of go back to with the Dynamo, that was, I think, when you made that team, that was one of the first times you and I got to work with each other professionally, because we were hired, I can't remember exact situation, but we were hired to put on a halftime show for the Dynamo, and we basically worked with the girls. So I was our
one
first
of our
time.
clients was the sponsor of the halftime.
Halftime. Right. Yeah, it was one of the sponsors. And so we, that's right, Cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was Cricket Wireless. It was the sponsor. Free plug for them. And so, but that was I think for me, it was great because when I went off to school and she was still in school, we kind of, we kind of went our separate ways. I think the joke in our families, I went out the front door, she went out the back. Same house, but just different paths. But then coming together for that, I think it was that was the first time I went, okay, she's going to do what it takes. And I think that was I was like, wow, she's going to do it. And it was great. It was the first time we got to work with each other. So that was my only input to that. And then I remember when you started the book and reading the chapters and kind of, I think I was on the proofreading team with people who were reading the book, a lot of those memories came back, and I did not realize, I will say this, the thing about you, my perception, is you make it look easy. Because you're not really one to, you're not really one to complain. This is more of an internal thing that I've seen because I have a relationship with you, but you're not really one to complain. You let your actions speak louder than words. And so when I was reading your book, I think I did not realize the struggle, I knew it was difficult. As a performer myself, but and the added burden of, you started, in the dance world, all the people who are dancers go, you started at 27? What? that's like a football player saying, I'm going to play football at 50.
Right. But listen, not only was I 27, but I was a lefty. Yes.
And I danced left too. So that was a hard thing. You have to come in and dance opposite of what you expect it to go. But I think one of the things about the book, Game On, was I love the title because it's like, because of the sports and because of the dancing. And for those of you who are watching, you can see it behind her. She has her poster there. Those of you listening on podcast, just imagine a big, beautiful Game On in the back. And we're wearing orange. And by the way,
we thought of you.
And we're
orange too.
Yeah. So, but I think I think going back, not going too back, but I mean, when we have a question, I guess I should say. I'm kind of getting something in my words. If because of the things that you learned, and basically there wasn't an outlet, and obviously you wrote the book. Those were some of the things that obviously you were going to recommend. Those resources, and you had said, "I wish someone had this or had done this with me." How I guess by doing this, I'm sure that was another risk. Hey, I'm going to be an author, and I'm sure there was 9 people going, "You're going to write a book about what?" And I was not one of them. I was not one of them. But I think now that you've written the book and all the people that you've affected, give us a little bit about that. And how has the book at least opened your eyes to, I can do this. I can, I can do this. I can take risks and be successful, and I can help other people's lives. How does that make you feel now?
Well, I mean, it makes me feel great, especially when I'm not expecting it, and people were like, "Oh, I read your book and this part, and it resonated so much," and I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay, I thought it was just me, but cool. Yes, game on." It's exciting. But quite frankly, I really don't hear much back. I don't get a lot of feedback from it, and so I kind of just have to hope and believe that it is encouraging people until that day when that feedback does start coming back. But I've heard a couple of people here and there, but really mostly from my friends who have read it. But it still has yet to be like stranger that read it and was like, "Oh my gosh," So it's just a matter of, I know that I put my best out there, and I know that I did it with the best intention to encourage people, and all I can do is trust and hope that it does.
Yeah. So I guess I know that you have also a book series or a journal series. Can you tell us a little bit about that, because I got one of your journals, and I'll just to be quite transparent, I didn't think I was going to use it. And then after,
every day.
And it's been pretty much every day. Yeah, it's a nothing against the journal. It's
normally, if it's not on his phone.
Yeah, I'm usually
right.
But the fact that I got that, I guess it was something I didn't think I needed. Or was it? I didn't know you needed it. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. It's like, it's not something I wanted, but now I know you needed it. I didn't know you needed it, and it's been really helpful, especially with getting. Anyway, I'm gonna let you talk about it, because I think it's for the journal affirmations. Let you take the floor.
Wait, what? I didn't hear the question.
Go ahead. No, I'll let you talk about it. About the
journal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I wrote journals to inspire people, right? Because a lot of times you take notes and you have to write down stuff, and people have, if you're like me, like I'm old school, I like to write notes and the whole handwriting thing. So I was like, well, why not inspire people while you might as well be inspired while you're taking notes. So I created some journals, note-taking journals. And, it's just paper, but on every other page, there is an inspiration. Like this one says, "It's okay, you can't please everyone all the time." Then this one says, "You are relevant. You wear multiple hats well." And it's just a way to encourage people as they're going through their workday, or if they're going through, like I created a game on one for somebody who's going after their dreams, just as a reminder of like, okay, that's okay. Maybe you didn't do your personal best today, but there's always tomorrow, and keep going. And even when you feel like you plateau, you still have to keep going. Just to encourage you through the rough times, because that is what makes or breaks a person. It's not your successes, it's what you do in your failures. That is what makes the success. Are you getting back up when you fail? What is your mindset? How are you going about that? Who is in your corner to help get you back up to where you need to be? That's like my favorite part in terms of like when you're going after your dreams and going after your goals. The most important part are the people who are in your corner, right? Because when you see boxers, they're in the ring, they're doing their thing, bell rings, whatever, bell rings, they go back into the corner. And what do you see? The hype team. you know, you got you got little Johnny just like, yeah. Johnny don't even know what he's saying. He's just like, yeah, baby, yeah. That's all he's doing. You got somebody else, you know, wiping your forehead, giving you water. And then the coach, the person who has the outside perspective from what is going on, the person looking from the outside is like, hey, remember when we did this in practice? This is where that person is weak. You can get them this way. Watch out for this when he comes this way, or he or she. You know, dodge, work on the left or whatever. I don't know boxing terminology, but you get the point, right? Mm-hmm. So they're in the corner, hype. By the time that person gets back up, he's like, ah! Now, different scenario. He goes, he sits down. After the first round, yo, you know, you sure you want to do this? Cause I mean, they beating your butt. And you know, he's probably training harder than you were. Can I get some water? No, you don't deserve it. Like, just, you're not even breaking a sweat. Little Johnny like, yo, can you hurry up? Because we got somewhere to go. I mean, can you imagine what that would be like? But yet that is how people choose their team. And when they're trying to go off and pursue a dream or become an entrepreneur, those are the type of people that they have. The first ones that as soon as something happens, well, I mean, imagine the coach. I told you he was going to hit you. You ain't ready. I told you. Like, but yet you choose people like as soon as you don't have the first, I told you wasn't going to work out. They just waiting for you to fail. So clean your closet of them. Get your hype team. Get your Johnny that no matter what it is, they are in your corner. Yeah, you got this. Oh, of course you only sold one book in 6 years, but yo, you got it. Today could be your day. Those are the people that you need in your corner. And that is kind of essentially what the journal is that person being in your corner, being in your ear, encouraging you. You know, if you have to go into the boardroom, if you have to go into a sales opportunity and you know, you're in the room and you're not sure and you look down at your notebook and it says you are relevant, or you look down and it says you got this. And it's just a reminder when you go in there to build up your confidence. And you're like, oh yeah, I do have this. I do got this. So anyway, so that's why. So I created them for professional women. I created one for professional women. I created one for young people. Ooh, especially for young people, right? Because people are the first ones to tell you, oh, you're young, what do you know? Screw that. The world changes because young people are putting new things out in the world. Hello, Facebook has changed the world. Young people. Instagram has changed the world. Young people. So, it just aggravates me. So, you know, especially like if you are a junior and senior of college and you're getting that first internship, or you're just graduated and you're trying to get your foot into the door at a professional level, and you're working with all these adults and they think that they know everything and they want to try to silence you. I want to encourage you to speak up. You know, now do it tactfully. Don't be like, look, old man, like that's not going to get you anywhere. But speak up tactfully and let them know that you have ideas and you are our future. You are our future. So do not be intimidated by the people who have always said, well, we've always done it that way. Take it to them, show them a new plan, show them why that would work. You have the fresh ideas. The future is in your hands. Do not let people who have been in a position forever tear you down. And that is why I have this, the words of wisdom, like helping you in the workplace. And then just little nuggets that I wish people would have told me, like beware of the workplace romance. That would have been helpful. We're not going to talk about that on camera though. We're not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying, I want to encourage people to get through. If I walked through it and I got through the fire, I'm going back to help you avoid it. Right? As much as possible. But you do need to go through your own fires to become a stronger and better person. But if there's little things that are unnecessary that you don't have to go through, I'm gonna help you out. Because that's what we're about, you know, helping each other out to make it in this crazy thing we call life. So
the cool thing I like is that I think you have I'll make sure I have this. There's 14 different journals, right?
Yeah, there's 14 of them.
I mean, so I think I have the entrepreneur one, and it's interesting because every morning or every afternoon, depending on when I do it, I mean, I will admit, I did not think the nuggets would would affect me. But I, you have a rough day, you got off a bad phone call, and it's there going, you got this. It's like, you feel I like the phrase, I need to use it, the hype team. It's like, yeah, you need your hype team.
Yes.
And so it really does help. So I know one thing that we're going to make sure is that when you come to the site, that we have a link that goes straight to where you can pick up the Game On book. I think anybody, even if your dreams aren't in the sports or the arts and entertainment industry, I will say, to see that someone is willing to work that hard for it, and you can too. I think pick it up. It's a really good book. And then I think the journal affirmations, it's something I didn't, like Sarah said, I didn't think I needed, but it's really been a help. And hey, with that, everybody in the office, Christmas is coming.
Just
saying. So I think I know. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh no, I said there's one for everybody.
Yeah, I
you
think
fit in one of the categories.
Yeah, so you find ones for you. That makes a great gift. And then, Sarah, I guess what did you want to do? Kind of wrapping up here, getting to the end, which has been really great listening. What do you want to?
Well, first, I just want to say, I've known you for years. I've known you since I think you were Dynamo Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we were
actually
that year. That was my induction into the family. But
you're like, wait, let's be real. Sarah was like, oh God, a cheerleader.
no lie. So I didn't realize you were going to go audition. And I remember being in the car with him and him asking me, hey, would you have any interest in cheerleading? And I was like, no.
And those of you listening, there has always been a healthy debate between cheerleading and dancers.
Yes.
And so I will just say, I love both of them.
Well, I will say you actually taught me a lot in you being in that world of how actually the same they are. Yeah. I grew up, doing mostly ballet. And so it was kind of looked down on. And that, though the cheerleading world has actually evolved to, you do need to be more of a trained dancer. And where that is. And I had friends, that worked with us that went and did cheerleading for the Texans and stuff like that. But then they were trained like classical dancers. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so this is a thing. Mm-hmm. And so like you being in my life really taught me that so it's all good. But at the time I was like, me cheer? I am the least rah person. I still have my picture though that you wrote, say rah.
That's great.
Very clever. But your resilience and just everything that you have done is so inspiring. So our podcast is Engage Your Passion. So like you said at the beginning of this, you were able to like twist and turn to find your passion and do that. So could you let us know what Engage Your Passion means to you?
Engage Your Passion means freedom to me, meaning the opportunity to operate 100% in who you are and not having to pretend to be somebody else on a daily basis. Going to that 9 to 5, doing something just for a paycheck to pay the bills, but crushing your soul every day because you're not operating in who you were created to be. That is what engaging your passion means to me. Being able to live 100,000% yourself.
I love it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
Good sound bite.
Yeah, just good advice all around. So what's next for you? I know I know you have your new brand that you're doing. You're doing speaking engagements. I think since last, even with COVID, you're still getting hired to do speaking engagements and volunteering your time. She works in the volunteer. You work at a performing arts center, so you still get your arts and all that, and you work with the volunteer. So what's next for you moving forward with your pursuit of your passion? That was a little cheesy question, but what's next for you?
Honestly, taking it one step at a time, stepping out on faith and seeing where it takes me, seeing what happens. That's really honestly what I can do. I know I'm trying to plan a couple of little events here and there. I'm going to start my pity parties soon. And by pity, I don't mean P-I-T-Y. I mean P-I-T-T-E, meaning pulling it together through encouragement. And we come together and it's just, we gather together. And if you're having a rough time, or let's just say you got cut from your 16th audition, all of us, we get together and be like, what was that like? But by the time you leave, you're inspired to get up and go try again. If you applied for that 10th job and you still didn't get it, we get together. By the time you're done, you're ready to go apply for 17 more jobs. Just, yes, it's disheartening. And that's why it's like pity. But in that moment, again, who is in your hype team, right? Who is in your corner, coming together, lifting you up to get ready to go back into the world to do whatever it is that you need to do. So stay tuned for the next pity party. I will let you know when it's happening, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. We'll definitely share when that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll make sure there's links there to the books, to the pity parties. I love that. That's creative. I love that.
So creative.
That's really cool.
I had to thank you. Like it does work.
Yeah. Yes.
I think we might have a couple questions before we wrap up. If you still have time, we'll take like 2 or 3. See if
okay, I have a meeting in 7 minutes, so let's rapid fire.
Cool. All right.
Rapid fire. See if there are no questions.
Okay. How's it? Best advice as a single mom to give to your child about following your dreams.
Do it. Just figure out a way to make it happen. If you take the first step, the doors will open.
Okay, just like Nike, just do it. Got it.
Just do it. Just do it.
What habits do you have to stay motivated and healthy and happy and keep going?
Yeah, right.
Just because all my habits are really bad, and I would not encourage anybody to do them. The habits that I'm working on are getting sleep and eating. To be happy, though, is I do not allow any negativity in my space. I do not. Drama is unacceptable. If you're coming with drama, you are not allowed in. So making sure that I have that boundary that does not allow drama in is huge. And that's across the board. That's in relationships. That's at work. That's friends. Shoot, that's family. Like some of them use, I'm not saying you have to cut them off, but that boundary is imperative. And because with that, I can sleep at peace at night, and I don't have a lot of I'm not dealing with extraneous stuff, because I'm trying to write books and blogs and social media posts and I don't have time to have drama about, your baby mama, your baby daddy. I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that. I have the privilege of all of my energy going into creating and doing what I need to do and helping with my daughter, not where was you? How come you didn't call me when you said you were going to be there? Because you know what that does? That takes away from time that I could have been posting and doing whatever and putting pure energy out. I'm wasting it on giving it to somebody who doesn't know my worth. Holla.
The last question, It says, as a single mom, when you're having a bad day, how do you keep encouraging your child to keep going even when you don't feel like you can?
I don't. I tell her to leave me alone. No, I'm just kidding. When I'm having a bad day, I share them with her. And I'm like, this is reality. And a lot of times, if I'm having a bad day, I'm not having the best of days. So, I'm letting you know right now, I'm a little on edge. So anything you do is going to trigger me. So let's just do what you need to do, please. Today, just be on point, because I'm just letting you know. And then, so having that open communication with her, and then also just telling her, this is real. This is real. But what's more important is how she responds to and sees me get up the next morning anyway and do it all over again. And, so it's okay that she sees me cry, and it's okay that she sees me frustrated, because all of that is real. I don't hide any of that from her, because that's the real world. But what's important is that she does see me get up the next day. And then if I do have a win, oh my gosh, look at what happened. So celebrating and opening the door and letting her see, because a lot of times people have this thing, well, I'm the parent and you have to, no, man, my child knows all my business, well, almost all my business. She don't want to know all of it, but she's fully aware, and I talk about that with her. And that helps to open the door for her to talk to me too, because she doesn't feel like I'm perfect, because I let her know I am not. Because kids have that thing about their parents that they're no, I just happen to be alive longer, but that doesn't mean I have it figured out. And there's things that I learned from her, and I let her know that I learned from her. But especially when I'm having a bad day, I'm just very transparent, and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to really wash those dishes today, because I don't have the energy to tell you more than once.
Perfect. Well, I know we've got to run, and we've got to run, we're wrapping up. I wanted to say one thing. I wanted to say congratulations to your recent engagement. So single mama is not going to be on your resume.
So much.
So congratulations on that. And I will dance at your wedding. So.
We can 5, 6, 7, 8, and we can go,
hey. And I think last, where can people find you? Social media, website, where can I find you?
Yes. So my website is www.NicoleRsmith.net. And across all platforms, you can find me at Nicole R Smith Net. So that's LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. There's something I'm missing. Oh, Facebook. You can find me across all platforms there.
Thank you.
Didn't you just start your own podcast, right?
I did.
Yeah.
It's from the suggestion box.
Yes.
And it really, because I've been rejected, and this is another thing. You get rejected enough, you start a podcast and tell people how to handle being rejected.
There you go.
There you go.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much. This was so great. I love it. Love it. Love it.
So good.
I'm so happy.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you staying with us. Great insights to life and how to deal with rejection. Go get your book, Game On. This is the Engage Your Passion podcast. With season 2, first episode with our lovely guest, Nicole R Smith, my lovely sister. It was a pleasure having you. And so with our sign out today, I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And until then, engage your passion.
Bye.